What was your background for the application? Like, what did you show them?
I would say I did start to regret a little bit.
And what are the specifics? Can you talk me through a little bit of your job right now?
So I used to, and I still conduct a lot of webinars, talks, YouTube live sessions, Instagram lives.
So the interview is not going to be too long. I'm just going to ask some basic questions. I think it's going to take us maybe half an hour. And first, I would really like to know why did you decide to move from India? What was the motivation?
Yeah, so that was more personal, to be honest with you. It was not like I was very keen to move out of India or, was looking out for opportunities, but it was because my wife, she got an opportunity in here which she wanted to explore. And at the same time, she also didn't want to, come in here and be by herself. She wanted me to be along with her. So yeah, it was more personal. As I said, it was just to support her and make sure that, I'm there when she needed me. And so that's primarily what made us both, and of course me, travel to the UK from India. But yeah, I mean, I was all good in India, to be honest. As I said, I was not really keen or looking out for opportunities. I was in a very, very well settled and reputable job as well. So yeah, it just happened by chance, to be honest with you. And I'm really glad that it happened, eventually. Yeah.
You don't regret deciding to move. And
I would say I did start to regret a little bit because the timing was not very good. Because we came in on in January 2020, and as I said, I came in here to support my wife. So of course that means that I gave up my job in India and I was coming in here, moving in, hoping that I'll get a job, etc., etc. And I did get the opportunities. I was expecting an offer to be rolled out as well by one of the leading companies in here as well. But unfortunately, COVID stuck the entire world, and it was a little tricky then. So I started doing a bit more of, freelance consulting, and I have always had this passion to work for startups and engage with them. That just gave me an opportunity, in that phase when I was not in a permanent job. I started working on these consulting engagements, which were on and off, but I would say I was pretty busy, and it gave me also an opportunity to work on few projects that I could have never worked on when I was in a permanent job, because I, of course, would not have got time. So I would say I started regretting a little bit because I got a little anxious because of the market conditions and what everybody was talking around. And of course, it was a pretty new place for us as well. And unfortunately, lockdown just kept us indoors. So, and it was cold here in the UK. So, there were a lot of these things which were just making your brain a little bit uncomfortable. But I say the journey has been fantastic. Even during the COVID, as I said, I did a few projects which I could have never done, and all those accomplishments would have not had happened if I wouldn't have got that free time. So yeah, initially a bit of regret, but then I'm very happy that we sailed through that tough phase, and it's here now. Yeah.
It sounds like you literally moved at the most difficult time to move to a different country, especially since the climate is different, and the COVID I think hit harder. And yeah, but you worked through it, so that's wonderful. And so I guess global talent was the only option for you, because that was, you had to go to UK because of your wife. So you didn't even look at other countries. It was like a choice to follow. Yeah. What was your background for the application? Like, what did you show them as your marriage?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, this is so I have been in touch with, and I would say the other way, a lot of people have been in touch with me. In fact, I'm talking to another guy today who is looking forward for a global talent application. So I keep sharing my piece of advice to as many people as I can, primarily because of two reasons. One, of course, I have gone through the process, so I can talk about it. And second, I understand that, and having again gone through the same, I understand that these are very, anxious times when you're looking for settlement or a work visa or, stuff around that and similar stuff. So I guess it's always I'm a firm believer of karma. So, it's like, you help out as many as you can. So I always keep sharing that piece of advice. Now, in terms of my background, so you're right. I mean, it's not that I was only and explicitly looking for the global talent visa right from the beginning, but I think circumstances led me to choose that. So, for example, back again in 2020, in those COVID times, not every employer was very keen to hire new candidates, and even if they would, not many people were, or many organizations were keen to sponsor visas. Of course, my default choice and the primary choice would have been to probably get some sponsorship from a company, work for the company, and then think of settling down in a 5-year duration, as generally everybody does in a tier 2 general visa, which now has become that skilled worker visa. But because times were different, and as I said, not many people were keen to hire people with a visa requirement. So I started working for NHS in October, and my organization had been very supportive. My line managers, my directors have been very supportive, and although they were looking towards sponsoring my visa, in fact I was halfway through that as well in terms of skilled worker visa. It was just that because the process keeps on getting delayed, and I was on a verge of, I would say, expiry of my initial visa, which was just granted for 2 years when I moved along with my wife. So because that was just 6 months away, I started wondering, so my 2020 just went away just like this. And then when I joined NHS and I started working for NHS and I started expecting my visa sponsorship, it was already like June, July 2021, and I had like just 6 months left on my visa. So yes, I did start exploring other opportunities as well. And as I said, I mean, towards the end, my organization was also in a position to sponsor my visa. But the other option which I felt was of course, this global talent and tier 1 visas. I started exploring all different sort of visas that are in there because I really wanted to stay back, because I personally felt that I didn't even get a chance to express myself in the professional world here in the UK, because probably 1 year was just gone just like this, and I had just started working in here. So I really needed that time to prove myself and express to everyone what I am and what I can do. And I guess when I realized that this could be one of the options, the global talent visa, I started evaluating my profile, and there are a lot of tick boxes that you have to go through, because of course everyone and anyone would feel that, yeah, maybe we can be a good candidate, but then there are a lot of things that you need to make sure that you're doing, and probably there are a lot of things that technician, who in case were my endorsement specialists and the bodies from the government of UK, they look into it. So one of them being, say, mentoring students, which I always used to do. Other bit will be to make sure that you are associated with new technology startups or small organizations and have helped them grow. So that was another thing which I knew that I have been doing. And then expressing yourself on public forums. So I used to, and I still conduct a lot of webinars, talks, YouTube live sessions, Instagram lives, and all. So, and of course in job achievements, which I knew that I had got the chance of working with senior leadership teams across very prestigious organizations in the past, like TCS and Geomart when I was in India. So I knew that I would have leaders backing me and my work that I have done. So when I evaluated and I felt that probably I'm ticking all these boxes, which are probably a kind of a requirement, I felt I might be a suitable candidate. And that is when I started working on my application. It took me a while, but yeah, thankfully I was able to just go through that successfully.
So if I got that correctly, you initially you applied from India. You applied for a regular visa, which you got for 2 years. Yeah. And then when you came, like 2020, you were just freelancing. And then, so you started working in National Health Service in October 21?
October 2020 itself. October 2020 itself.
Oh, October 2020 you started working in NHS. Oh,
yeah.
So when you were applying for global talent, you already had a permanent job in UK.
Yeah, I already had a permanent job in the UK, but my visa was not still sorted because it was expiring towards the end of December. Yeah, and I didn't. I won't say it was a regular visa when I applied from India. It was more like a dependent visa. My wife was the primary visa holder.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Actually, it was quite an interesting journey. And you right now, do you live in Leeds? Yes.
Yeah, correct. I'm based in Leeds, and I still work for NHS. I have grown in this organization, and yeah, here I am with you today.
Why did you choose Leeds? Are there any other branches of NHS you could
Of
have worked in?
To be honest with you, what I have understood, so NHS is definitely present all over the country. You have, different offices, but I work for NHS England, and what I've understood is, while their primary headquarters are in London, in the Wellington House, they have a very big office here in Leeds as well. And Leeds was, in a way, my default location because my wife was moving in here for the job, so that was the
Mm-hmm.
default location that I had. And yeah, eventually it was a good choice by default again, because as I said, I started working for NHS and they have the offices in here. So yeah, it just came by choice again. Sorry, by chance again, not by choice. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Initially, you knew you were going to live in Leeds, but you chose NHS out of all the opportunities in Leeds. Why? And were there any
So
other big opportunities for a job?
yes, I did had, and I even had another opportunity 6 months back as well. But I think I have, as I said, what I have seen through and what I've gone through, I want to work for a sector. I mean, that's my passion, to work for a sector organization which can touch as many lives as possible in real world. So I think what better place it could be than NHS in the UK, because I mean, NHS as an organization really is involved and engaged with everyone's life, probably every citizen of this country. So that's one of the reasons to stick with NHS. When initially I joined in, I was wondering to choose either between retail or healthcare, because again, retail is another sector which touches upon everyone's life. But healthcare was the first one to come to me, and then I started really, liking what I'm doing and the work that I do in here, and of course the brand NHS altogether. I carry it with pride wherever I go, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but I really feel proud to work for the NHS. So yeah, that's where I'm just continuing in here.
And what are the specifics? Can you talk me through a little bit of your job right now at the NHS?
Yeah, sure. So I think global talent is in particular, more rewarded or awarded, whatever we say, to individuals who are on the product management side, which is very close to being a business analyst or a product management, of course, product lead, product owner, and all these different job profiles that we have in the market. So what I currently do is I'm a senior product manager at NHS, and I manage I manage two umbrella products, which eventually will have about 4 to 5 different business intelligent products for NHS, which are for helping the executive leaders make effective decisions whenever they are looking into the data, and they're trying to take some decisions on top of improving, of course, the healthcare facilities across the country. So these are business intelligent products, more using advanced analytics and trying to use machine learning models and AI frameworks, etc. So this is my current scope of work. But when I started as a business analyst, and again, I was working on analytics led products itself when I started in at NHS. There are a lot of analytics enabled products in here, because probably data is the key when we are trying to improve the healthcare facilities across the country. And in between, I did get an opportunity to work on a product for a few months, which was not exactly data centric, but it was also end user, engaging with the end users. So it was like creation of a portal or a platform where the patients would be interacting with NHS services, etc. So yeah, my work has been more around business intelligence services, and it has been more around product management and business analysis side of things.
And what you mentioned earlier, I think you mentioned that in 2020 you did a lot of like freelance startups kind of thing. That you like those. I read on your page that you are the founder of a startup called Dream Info Lab. I was wondering if you
Yeah.
could tell a little bit about that. What's the thing, and are you still doing it? Do you have time to manage both?
So that is more like I would say a volunteering kind of a thing which I do. So after I got endorsed through the global talent, one very critical component of getting the endorsement is how you are mentoring, or as I said in the beginning as well, how you are engaging with these new age startups, new technology startups. So while this was something which I was again very passionate about, because I love to do market research and I love to understand how different markets markets behave for different technology products and how you can launch into the market, etc., etc. So I have been consulting. I mean, in the last 2.5 years, I think I have consulted with about 6 to 7 different startups, and I'm currently also engaging with one of them. As I said, these are more volunteering opportunities, but I don't want to use a Gmail or a Hotmail kind of a mail for that. So I established a small brand within myself, I would say, which was called as Dream Info Labs, and that's where I use it for interacting and engaging and conducting these
Oh.
official sessions, yeah, with these startups. So it's in there, and I'm still, as I said, I have been doing it. I have been consulting with technology startups. I have consulted with retail startups, business organizations who have been trying to, in COVID times, move from their retail store to a e-commerce or a digital store, because of course they had to do business and people are not visiting retail stores, right? So I've been trying to do those road maps and the product journey for them, user journeys for them, and process flow diagrams, etc., etc., on how do you exactly implement it, or how can they exactly approach the entire problem that they're trying to tackle in, and what solutions could be in there. So yeah, it has been in there under that brand, I would say, Dream Info Labs. It's not a very official kind of a brand, because as I said, it's not a commercial brand. It's something just to aid people and assist people and help people, and that's why, I mean, I think another key bit is, so under Dream Info Labs, I just say that I can understand the pain of a failed entrepreneur, and I really don't want anybody to fail. So I'm just trying to, as I said, invest as much time as I can towards helping people build their organization. So yeah, that's in brief about the brand that you saw. So yeah, it's just written in there because a lot of people then started asking me when I used to conduct sessions with them that where is this brand, what it is, and I can't find it on your LinkedIn page. So I just popped it in my experience summary there, so that they know that they're talking to a legit person and not someone just like this. Yeah.
You made like a one-man firm, like a one-man consulting firm.
Well,
but it's for charity. But it's for charity purposes. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Well, I would say I started it one man, but I have two more people who,
Oh.
yeah. So there are two students of mine. Well, I'm not that old, but yeah, I have mentored them when they were in their MBA, and I think they are from the 2019 and 2018 batches, and they're really good students. I had mentored them when they were in MBA, and helped them prepare for their placements, for consulting engagements, etc. So they when they realized, and because I was getting parallel calls from multiple organizations, I needed a helping hand. So they expressed their interest to collaborate with me, and they said that I really want to work with you. So that's where I won't say it's just me at the moment. There are two more people in there, and we just try to, as I said, again, help out as many people as we can. But yeah, it's not a very huge portfolio. I think at the moment we're just dealing with two groups at the moment. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but still, it's quite impressive in my opinion.
And to be honest with you, just to add on, I think it's very important for a global talent thing. I mean, I never thought that it will be so important, and a lot of my friends, my family, everybody used to keep saying that, why do you invest so much time and you don't take anything in return? You're not getting paid anything, but you just do it. So why do you waste time? I mean, that was the words that I heard always from my friends and family. But then eventually, when I was awarded the global talent visa, I think everybody said that now we know what it worked out, because I never planned for a global talent. I started doing this in 2019, 2018. When I got the opportunity first, and back then I had not even heard of global talent. In fact, until I applied 6 months before that, I hadn't heard of it. So it just happened. So that's what I mean, and that's what has started to make me believe in karma, that you keep doing your deeds and maybe one day you would find
pay
it.
Off.
Yeah, exactly. So
well, for the last bit of questions, I actually wanted to learn a little bit more about like your life in UK in general, because it would be nice to know, what do you think are like the pros and cons of living in the UK? Like, so far, what have you noticed? What are the main differences?
Well, so far I have, I have all the positives only. When I was moving in to this country, and you often hear stories and read about things online of with respect to say discrimination or uncomfortable situations where you are in. But to be honest with you, and touch wood again, and fingers crossed for forward as well. My journey and my wife's journey, we have it has been really good. We have had. I don't think we have had e- 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 ever got any negative experience, be it visiting a store or meeting people or traveling in a tube or on a ferry or visiting a tourist place. I don't think we ever had a negative experience, and I don't know if we have just been lucky maybe, but yeah, at least what I have experienced, I find it quite a warm and welcoming country, because I feel people do appreciate, and people who, my neighbors, my friends in here who are from the British origin as well, they all appreciate, and they all really regard the journey that we had, the tough phases, and of course how we evolved from that, and now that I'm settled in. So yeah, everybody does acknowledge what we had gone through, and they don't just empathize or sympathize, but they do appreciate the way we have kind of excelled and tackled all the challenges. And to be honest with you, they have been there throughout. My colleagues at NHS, my
Mm.
bosses, my line managers, they have always been in there. So all good for me so far. To be honest with you, and we have traveled across the UK, a lot of places, almost visited all the key spots in the UK, and again, it has always been really good. uh, Maybe a few apprehensions that we had in our head. I was skeptical about, because I was coming in from India, and I'm a big foodie, so I was like, with regards to food, etc., etc. And then when I see my friends and a few of my family members traveling from India to the UK, they'll pack in everything, which just assuming that you might not be able to buy things in here because they are not available. But I have stopped doing that, and I have started advising everyone that, hey, don't worry, because you get everything in here. So it might be a little different in terms of costing and pricing, which again is not very significantly different, because I keep comparing sometimes. But you find everything in here. So that was one lone apprehension that I had, and has been all quite good. And other than that, my experience has been amazing, because we are now settled. We bought a house just a few months back, and all those experiences of going through the purchase process, settling down, everything has been really, really remarkably good, for us. I don't know, as I said, if we have been lucky, and if we had been, I'd say it's good, because we went through a lot. So it's good that we are lucky, at least on these grounds. But to me, it has been all good. And I would strongly recommend, if anybody is looking forward to, I guess this is a very warm and welcoming country. However, one thing which I would definitely say from a professional point of view, I personally feel, and when I have been talking to my friends in the US and the Europe, Australia, Singapore, and different parts of the world, and also in India, I have my experience myself. Uh, I think there's a very strong support for work-life balance in the UK, which is
Mm.
the most attractive thing for me, because I know, if I am online after 5 in the evening, I have my line managers pinging me, why are you working? If I do something over the weekend and produce them on a Monday, they would be like, when did you do it? And I would say, I did it on a Sunday, and they'd be like, why did you do it? So I think that's a very new thing which I have experienced in this country, which I hadn't earlier. I'm not saying that it's done wrong in other places, but of course there's a different culture and a different style of working in different
Yeah.
places, across the world. But that is something which I really, really appreciate in the UK and organizations in the UK.
Oh, that's super important actually, because out of my experience, I'd say most big cities do not have that kind of work ethic where it's most like you have to be online 24/7. So it actually sounds really nice that you have that kind of balance. Well, I think that actually pretty much sums up our conversation. That was really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing your personal experience and giving us advice on, helping others who will watch this interview to learn how to get by in UK and how to get together to apply for the global visa. Thank you. It was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.